Yo, what's going on, guys? We are here with the Miami Heat versus the Cleveland Cavaliers playoff series preview. If you haven't watched one of my videos before, when we do this, we need to skip to the end if you just want the prediction for whatever purposes it may be. We'll break it down each team at a time. Last 2 to 3 minutes will be those predictions and thoughts. Before we start, of course, let me hear your predictions and thoughts in the comment section. If you like this type of content, we cover the entire NBA. I'm right now in Portsmouth, Virginia. Tomorrow's the last day at Portsmouth, and I do work for Hoops Hype right here, covering the NBA as a multimedia journalist and doing a lot of the scouting work there. So let's get right into it and talk about this. The Miami Heat come out of the play-in tournament like they've done before, and they're going against the top-seeded Cavaliers. Now, most of the time, when something like this would happen, we would just go ahead and think that the Cavaliers would be the dominant, overwhelming favorites due to the fact that they've been arguably one of the best, if not the best team this season in the NBA outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, giving the Boston Celtics a run for their money. But we know you can never count the Miami Heat out of any fight. It's like that guy in movies you see who brings a knife to a gunfight and somehow still wins. They're that type of guy. So let's just get right into it after that analogy. That's where I think this is one of the more interesting things. If you guys see me looking down, it's because I have my handy dandy computer here giving me some notes about what we'll be discussing. And if we just want to compare the two units, by the way, what do you guys think of this new setup? Right now, I just don't have time to edit, and I want to put this out. So rendered these up, and we'll just get right into it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. The Cavaliers are a team that is dominant offensively. We've all seen it this year. They've led the league in scoring with 121.9 points per game, while the Heat rank 24th with just 110.6. However, I think Miami's defense is lead, always has been, and they allow the fewest opponent points per game in the NBA at 110, while the Cleveland Cavaliers are 12th ranked, which is nothing to sneeze at, but 112.4. So Cleveland obviously has been one of the most remarkable shooting teams in all of NBA history. They have a 2-point field goal percentage that is through the roof. But listen to these numbers. They're second in field goal percentage, 49.1%. Second in three-point percentage, 38.3%. First in true shooting, 60.7% as a unit. That's insane. While Miami ranks middle of the pack in most shooting categories, they're not bad. I mean, they could put up more attempts. The Cavaliers also move the ball well, top 10 in assists, while not even turning over. I think they're third fewest turnovers in the league. And obviously, you look at this roster, and I don't even have to tell you that the Cavaliers are going to have an edge when it comes to rebounding. They grab the sixth most rebounds per game, 45.5. Miami does struggle there, 21st ranked, 43.4. Defensively, the Cavs will hold their opponents to the third lowest field goal percentage at 45.4%, and that's slightly better than the Miami Heat mark of 46.6%. Now, the Heat, after the All-Star game, were a different team, and they've just gotten better, and it's as if when crunch time came down, they've been able to elevate their play like they've done before when Jimmy was here. Maybe it wasn't Jimmy, it was just the Heat culture that was pushing all this forward. And as someone who is actually credentialed to go cover Heat games, I do think I'm never doubting Eric Spoelstra, but they do commit the fewest fouls in the league, and Cleveland is more aggressive. 3 more fouls, 18 total versus 15.5. But obviously, look on this paper, the Cavaliers have the advantage in almost every stat. If you look at their record, you would assume that too. The Cavaliers play under Kenny Atkinson, this fast, elite pacing, ball movement, good shot selected diet that allows them to have this hyper efficient season and maximizes opportunities and the shooting ability of their players. Pair that up with a top 5 defense that smothers opponents while raining threes at a high clip. That's what you want from a team that only has, quote-unquote, one superstar in Donovan Mitchell. While the Heat, they just grind the game to a halt. They force you to play their style. They'll execute in the half court, relying on their number 1 ranked defense to limit scoring and thrive in slow physical matchups. Obviously, we know they're playoff tested. Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. That culture is built for clutch moments and something that Cleveland needs to prove. And we'll just go right here and talk about the Cavaliers. We'll pull up the depth chart. Then we'll go into the Heat and how the Heat can be a team that combats that. So what do we see here? Now, it's an unstoppable offense. No team scores or shoots more efficiently than the Cavaliers. They rebound. They crash the glass harder than Miami and than most teams in the league. And I've always said this. What do I say, guys? When you rebound, you physically impose your will on your opponent. You demoralize them. You make them think, I can't stop these guys. You make them not even try to attempt a rebound by the end of the game because they see it as a fruitless battle. And if we go and look at the Cavaliers, obviously they have the balanced scorer and facilitating guard in Darius Garland. Donovan Mitchell is that go-to clutch guy, number one primary playmaker who's actually lowered his usage rate. Said, I'll give up my touches for the good of the team. And look what it's done. We have the former Miami Heat player, Max Strus, who missed some time at the beginning of the year, came back, and he's just a gritty, grinding guy who will do all the small things, then space the floor, and just play off ball without needing the ball in his hands. Evan Mobley, fulfilling the potential we saw at USC as a defensive anchor who can be a versatile scorer. And then Jared Allen went just from being a guy who could only do a few things in terms of just being a really good rebounder, finishes inside and blocking, to doing those things so hyperly efficient that it has come all the way around that people love him again and think he's underpaid. They traded for Swiss Army knife DeAndre Hunter, who not only gives them defense, but some offensive prowess that at the wing position and at the forward position that they've needed for a while. Pair that with Ty Jerome, one of the most efficient, 20-minute players I've ever seen. They got lethal perimeter shooting in Sam Merrill. They got a go gadget type of player in Dean Wade, and then Isaac Okoro if they need point of attack. So scorers, Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, shooters, and off the bench in Strus and Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill and Hunter and, Strus starts, but you know what I meant. Just shooters, and then rebounders in Mobley, Allen, Dean Wade, and defenders, obviously, in Okoro and Evan Mobley. So we can see what they're working with there, and it's pretty decent. So that's where we move in. All right, we're back. Did it stop? I don't know if it stopped. All right. We're going to act like this didn't stop. See if we can edit through this. But yeah, so when you look at this rotation summary, I think it's pretty evident they've got depth, and they still got more players if they had to break the glass. So for me, when you look at the Cavs, they fortified their unit. It's better than what it's been in past years, and you got to give credit to the front office and Colby Altman for giving Kenny Atkinson the help that JB Bickerstaff probably wanted for years in terms of bringing in Mr. DeAndre Hunter. So we're going to switch over to the good old Miami Heat. So what is the Miami Heat right here? They're starting right now, Tyler Hero and Alec Burks. Alec Burks kind of playing only 10 to 15 minutes depending on the game. He's got some scoring punch, can space the floor, just a veteran guy who sets the tempo. For some reason, Donovan Mitchell has done better this season off the bench playing 30 minutes and starting. Tyler Hero, sniper, top scoring option. Pair that with Andrew Wiggins, who's a two-way player, and he's performed well with him, even though sometimes he can feel like his stats are empty calories. Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo have been running the Twin Towers out there, and it works for the most part because they space the floor. As we mentioned, Davion Mitchell, off night, comes in, defends, facilitates, and is not like a gifted three-point shooter at a decent clip. Haywood Highsmith rebounds. He's a perimeter defender who will space the floor. Kyle Anderson's their backup center who runs also backup point guard minutes as a point center. He's fun. If he has a good game, he'll stay in longer. If they just need him to give some spot minutes, that's what they do. And same thing with Duncan Robinson. If they need some instant shooting and spacing, he comes in and can give them that. And then you have Jaime Jaquez and Pella Larson. Larson's their energy hustle guy. If Eric feels like that's what they need in this can change game to game because Hero, Wiggins, and Adebayo are their main scorers, with Hero and Mitchell and Anderson being their main playmakers in terms of facilitating, with their defense obviously being a collectively, but Adebayo, Mitchell, Highsmith probably being the three best defenders is something that does help them. But that's where you look at the Heat. What is their advantage? Elite team defense. They're going to force the Cavs to play their game at their tempo. They'll limit high scoring games. And I think they're disciplined enough to the fact that they foul less than any team in the league. And with that Spoelstra and Heat culture built for playoff battles, it'll be tough. But I think the Cavaliers in 6, they would like to do it earlier than that. But their offensive firepower and balanced defense will allow the Cavaliers to eventually just overwhelm Miami's slower system. And the problem with Miami is if like Hero Adebayo or like really Hero doesn't have a good scoring night and no one else picks it up, it's going to be rough. But I do think the Heat should be able to steal 1 to 2 games by forcing them to play their game and capitalizing late. But the Cavs' efficiency, depth gives them the edge in this 6-game series that they might just build up a lead that might be so hard. Like if they force the Heat to go to a shootout, go in every game to be a shootout, they're not going to win it. It's not going to be close. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I feel like this was pretty straightforward. That's going to be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe. If there was anything else you would have wanted to hear, like I've said, if you made it to the end of the video, let me know. I want to hear them. What do you guys think of this like new setup? I kind of like it. So maybe we keep it in the future. Plus, I love talking into these microphones. I have so many mics that like handheld mics. I feel like you're just able to like do more stuff with it like in your hand. But who knows?